There is something about devotion to one's inward vision, the intense desire and concentrated effort to fulfill what we believe to be our mission here, that has a solidifying influence upon the character, gives poise and peace of mind, and also helps us to realize our vision. Like the giant iceberg, faith reaches down into the serene within us, into the eternal calm of the soul. It is not disturbed by the surface commotions. A life poised in faith rides steadily, triumphantly, through the tempests and the hurricanes of existence. You will constantly be confronted with things which tend to destroy faith in God and faith in yourself. There are many times in life when about all we can do is to hold on to the hand of the divine guide until we have run through the storm zone. We have to learn to turn away from the heartbreaks of life and to face toward the light. We have to disregard the criticisms and discouragements of others, as well as the assaults of fear and doubt, and press on to our goal. If you go in business for yourself, if you are struggling to get an education, if you are making desperate efforts to realize your ambition, whatever it is, you will find plenty of pessimists who will predict your failure. They will tell you that you can never build up a business without a lot of capital and outside help in these times of terrific competition, that you cannot work your way through college, that you can never be whatever you are dreaming of and longing to be. You will meet plenty of obstacles and much opposition, and it will take a very stiff backbone, a lot of sand and grit to keep pushing on toward your goal against great odds. But faith is more than a match for all these. Nothing else will enable you to win out. Remember, it is not other people's faith in you, but your faith in yourself that counts most. It is a good thing to have other people's good opinion, to have their confidence in us, their faith in the success of our efforts, but it is not imperative. Our own is. Man never gets anywhere or does anything great in this world without faith in himself, without a superb belief that he is on the right track, that he is doing the thing he was made to do, that he is going to stick to it through thick and thin to the end. It takes faith to look beyond obstacles, to see the way over difficulties, to brave opposition, and to allow nothing to swerve us from our course. You cannot keep anyone from succeeding who has an unshakable faith in his mission. You cannot crush the faith that wrestles with difficulties, that never weakens under trials or afflictions, that pushes on when everybody else turns back, that gets up with greater determination every time it is knocked down. In the sacred Confucian scriptures we are told that a very devoted disciple of Confucius, on a pilgrimage to his master, was stopped on his journey by a broad river. As he could not swim and could not procure a boat, the zealous disciple resolved that he would walk on the water, believing that the necessity of seeing his master was most urgent, and being filled with zeal in the performance of his mission, he boldly made the attempt, and succeeded. The record of this miracle is supposed by followers of Confucius to be just as authentic as the Bible account of the walking of Christ on the water. If, like this zealot, you have faith in your power to overcome difficulties, nothing can keep you from your goal. If, like Joan of Arc, you believe you are appointed by God to perform a certain work, it will help you wonderfully to make good. It will dignify your life and your efforts, and thus save you from 1,000 temptations to waste your time in frivolous pursuits. It will put a higher value upon your importance to the world, to feel that you have a divine mission that no one else can perform, that you came here with a sacred message for mankind, and that it is up to you to deliver it, will add a wonderful motive for effectiveness in your life work. The consciousness that you are keeping faith with your Creator and with yourself, that you are keeping faith with your fellow men and earning their respect and love, that you are keeping faith with a splendid life purpose, with your holiest vision, gives a satisfaction which nothing else can afford. Cling to your faith no matter what happens. It is your best friend. Like the magnetic needle on the ship's deck, which will find the North Star, no matter how dense the fog, how dark the night, or how threatening the tempest, your faith, even though you cannot see, will find the way. It sees the open road beyond the mountain of difficulties which shuts out the vision of other faculties. If all the people of this country would persistently hold a mental attitude of faith in our prosperity, which is the birthright of the inhabitants of this land of plenty, if they would have faith that our vast resources would enable us to carry on business regardless of conditions in Europe or elsewhere, and if they would act in accordance with their faith, there would be no idle freight cars, no lack of work, no lack of money at any time. It is the mental attitude of the people of the United States that causes financial panics and recurrent hard times. And there is something dead wrong in a state of mind which produces periodical crises, intervals of nationwide stagnation in a land with resources great enough to make every one of its citizens rich, in a land where the state of Texas alone could give every one of them a better living than the majority get today. Before we can make business conditions stable, we must have faith in the stability of our limitless wealth, in the opulence of the earth over which the Creator has given us control. We have got to hold a prosperous vision, to see better times with the mental eye, not dimly in the future, but now, to have more faith in our Maker, in our nation, in ourselves individually. Why, if we analyze the matter, we will see that our unparalleled national prosperity has been built up largely by psychology. Its foundations had their root in the faith of our forefathers, in their belief in our country's possibilities. We all know that faith has preceded every achievement in the world's history. The activities of the whole country today are based upon psychology, upon the mental attitude, the faith, the hope, the expectation of its inhabitants. Without a vision the people perish, and when our vision, our faith shrivels, when it is obscured or displaced by doubt, fear, anxiety, lack of confidence, all our activities suffer accordingly. With abundant crops, with the lowering death rate and increasing longevity of our people, with constantly growing educational facilities, America ought to register every day of every year a high water point of prosperity. But when a large portion of the people lack faith in the future, when from time to time uncertainty is in the air, when everybody is doubting and fearing, waiting to see what is coming next, of course business will stagnate. It will follow the prevailing mental attitude, hesitate, waver, doubt, stand still like the idle freight cars. We are just beginning to see that faith is as much a real force as is electricity. It is faith that removes mountains, mountains of difficulty, of opposition, of doubt, of distrust. It clears the track of all obstructions. It makes stepping stones of stumbling blocks. Faith is the most powerful, the most sublime of human attributes. Without it, the bottom would drop out of civilization. It is the fundamental principle of life. Faith is the basis of health, of success, of happiness, of love itself. It believes in, hopes, trusts, clings to the loved one in spite of all faults and sins. It is faith that heals, that achieves, that hopes. The very feeling of harmony between ourselves and our God, that which gives assurance, a sense of protection and of safety which nothing else can give, is born of our faith in Him, in whom we live more and move and have our being. We must realize and appreciate more and more our divinity, the fact that we are made in the image of our Creator, and that we must partake consciously of His qualities. Then we will have more faith in our powers. When we are conscious of having qualities like His, we can rise above apparent limitations, above hereditary weakness. It is all preeminently a question of holding the right thought, the thought that builds, the thought that creates, that produces, the thought that we have within us unlimited possibilities which can be realized. A sublime self-faith is absolutely indispensable to all great achievement. Let no one shake your faith in yourself. This is what brings you into closest connection with God. It is your mainstay. There is no magic like faith. It elevates, refines, and multiplies the power of every other faculty. Whether we are starting out in life, or going downhill on the other side, facing the transition we call death, faith is our bracer, the trusty leader that will never fail to guide us to the home of our heart's desire. If you are filled with a great faith, you will not fear, though you walk through the valley of the shadow. Though the way may be dark, faith will lead you into the light, the power that has sustained you every moment of your existence, and without which you could not exist a fraction of a second. will certainly not leave you in your greatest need. If you bade your child jump into your arms, he would not hesitate, even though it was so dark that he could not see you. He would jump because of his faith in you. He would know that he would be perfectly safe in doing whatever you told him. Why should we fear to jump into the arms of the Infinite when we come to death's door, which is the only entrance to another life? Why should we fear to cross the valley that leads to the new life when we know that our great Father God is on the other side waiting with outstretched arms to receive us?